conquering that
Oh,
hour
nice.
of battle. So it was really cool.
Dope.
The only
GM,
thing I need
GM,
from you is
everybody.
to give me invincibility. Take away my weapons, my ability to attack, but just let me roam around so I'm not the easy kill for the kill farmers.
You can join as an observer.
I tried that, but I don't think I could do Alchemica drops or Protolic drops.
Really?
Observer.
Should be able to.
I'll have to give it a try again. Yeah, because I went in as an observer trying to do that, and I remember not having one of the two things I couldn't do, and I was like, oh no. Hey, Scrooger.
GM, GM, everybody.
Hey guys.
I think he's muted. You're muted, Scrooger.
Good gotcha morning, friends.
Good morning, friend.
How's it going?
Good, good. So we'll do the same agenda as we did last week. So just give everyone a couple minutes here to roll in. And then we'll get into kind of a weekly roundup of all the stuff that happened last week. Want to make sure everyone keeps up with all the alpha that's dropping and all the fun we had last week. And then we will get into some of the new upcoming stuff this week, which will include Gotchi Heroes and a couple other things. And then after that, we're going to have the Gotchi French Army is going to come on and talk about some epic stuff that they have been working on with the Sandbox experience. And then to close out the time here, we'll have, like last week, kind of share time where if you have a tweet or something you want to amplify, let everyone know, drop it. And then as we end the call, we will go into the DAO call for the next hour. So I hope that agenda sounds good to everyone.
Sounds so good.
Oh, yeah.
If you could take a minute, Coder Dan, because I know you just announced it, but can you go into a little bit the Discord changes in terms of the roles, just so that people here can have a better understanding?
I was gonna leave that for a little bit later, but yeah, we will be talking about that. It's basically Discord has they've been kind of pushed out this new experience called onboarding that they are just really highly recommending. Kind of Discords that are big like ours use, because like people come into our Discord and then it's a little bit overwhelming to see like everything. And there's like bots you can use that will assign roles and stuff, but we didn't really want to add them to the server. So a couple months ago, Discord finally launched this like native onboarding feature, and so when you come into the server for the first time, you'll be presented with a screen that says like basically, hey friend, select some things that you're interested in, trading NFTs, playing games, joining Aavegotchi DAO, developing on Aavegotchi, earning bounties, and support or bug report. So when you first join the channel, you're not going to see the bizarre channel fake gotchis ghost unless you click like trading NFTs and tokens. And you're not going to see a lot of the gaming stuff unless you click playing games. It'll just be more of like a streamlined experience so people can get their bearings a little bit easier before they get like overwhelmed with 1,000 channels.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's good for housekeeping, keep things clean, clean up the inactives, and then also just getting people into the right channels. So that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I think especially there's a mention of like pruning, something we probably are long overdue to do. It's just we're gonna prune all of the 30-day or more inactive users without roles on July 1st, and see what that brings the count of the server down to. Like there's no point in having those members in the chat if they're not coming and they don't have any roles. They're basically just like tourists looking around and they're not really coming back. So it's recommended to like prune the server every so now and then. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that. I don't think it'll affect anyone here on the call or any of like the hardcore.
No.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to go through the forum as well and just delete like ancient posts.
Yeah.
Or like archive them, whatever.
Yeah, it's always good to try and keep a server tidy, since this is kind of our main area of where we all interact, and especially new people come in, it's kind of their first impression of our community. So we want to make sure that things are nice and neat and clean, organized. So we've been kind of long overdue for a second round of kind of spring cleaning.
Discord grew so fast, man. They weren't ready for this. Web3 kind of like kicked them in the ass.
I mean, just all like throughout COVID, I'm sure it was massive for their growth, because like just all the stuff happening, not just Web3, but like all the gaming, just people bringing their whole lives online more. I'm sure they had like crazy growth. Yeah. All right. Well, cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to just say lastly, I'm just waiting for Twitter to give us some of these features that we have in Discord, like the eventual Twitter space that you can host video in will be epic. Like if there's chat, it's supposed to become.
You can do that, dude.
What do you mean? During a Twitter space, you can throw your screen up?
You can, yeah, you can share video basically.
Oh, I didn't know that. I have to test that out.
Here, let me see.
They just launched this community feature. I don't know if anyone saw that. Have you guys seen anyone using communities on Twitter? Like, I got a ping to like make one, but wasn't really sure. Like, it's just another kind of thing to manage.
I actually created the Aavegotchi community like 6 months ago on Twitter. There is an Aavegotchi one there, but it's been.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I added a whole bunch of people, but I haven't honestly not used it at all.
To be fair, that feature didn't have like a whole lot of functionality back then. I'm sure, like you're saying, I think there might be something going on with that now.
I don't totally get it. It's like a list, but I don't know, only people in that community can see the tweets, maybe?
Yeah, it's like a curated feed. So like if you just wanted to see like what's up with Gotchi Gang, you can scroll through your like community feed instead of going through your whole feed and catching a bunch of stuff that maybe you didn't want to look at.
Yeah, that'd be cool to play with.
Oh, we should get I'll look into it and see if I can get you in contact with the right people. But NFT Inspect does like rankings for Twitter, like influencers, and they have basically rankings for most blockchains with Polygon coming soon. So it'd be great if we can get our gotchis on there to be verified, because I'm like close to cracking into like the top 800 influencers in terms of reach. But because I'm using an Aavegotchi and it's just it's not actually an NFT because Twitter doesn't allow for that. I won't show up on the list as an NFT unless like switch it to a cool cat or something. But for Polygon, I probably rank really high up there. Well, same thing with Hefe because he's hosted so many spaces in the morning.
So what is this? Like a leaderboard?
We don't show up on. Is it like for Twitter? We don't show up because our NFTs are on Polygon.
Well, it's for NFT Inspect. Like I'll show you.
Yeah.
I'll drop the link in here from my own.
NFT
So allow you
Inspect.
to like look at your Twitter profile based on your name and then compare your like global reach, your following rank, how many followers you have,
cool.
and then they have a list overall. But you can for the overall dashboard, you could separate it based on the chain you have. Polygon is coming soon to this NFT Inspect, but I don't know how we would verify that since Twitter doesn't allow you to verify Polygon NFTs yet.
I mean, you could theoretically bridge your Gotchi back to Ethereum, and I think it might be picked up by Twitter, maybe. Like if you wanted to have it as your PFP for Twitter and be verified.
Into that.
All right, well, let's get on with the agenda here, guys. So we'll start with a little weekly roundup, just some of the stuff that went on this week. Make sure everyone is in the loop. One of the big things that we kicked the week off was the Forge and Geodes going live. So I'll share the blog post here. And let's see I don't know if Dr. Wagme is on the call or anyone from the Forge team. But yeah, big milestone for the Forge, finally getting those Geodes live. Those were really cool. And I don't know if do we have any stats about the usage of the Geodes feature yet? How many Geodes have been opened or anything of that sort?
I mean, it would be kind of a cool feature, like to have on the Forge UI is like a little bar to show, like, drop down menu or whatever to show how many
Hmm.
of each geode have been already burned. That'd be kind of cool.
Mikey says, okay, 200 prizes have been claimed.
So is that 200 schematics then?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
And he says, forging dashboard coming soon to wearables.report. Nice. That'll be really useful. So yeah, if you haven't, those schematics aren't going to last forever. So it's kind of first come, first serve. If you do have some geodes or you're planning to melt down some wearables for rarity farming, then it's a good time to make sure that you convert those geodes and open them up and see if you win anything before the schematics kind of run out for this run. And then if there's nothing else on the forge, the next big thing that happened, kind of a really major milestone, honestly, for Aavegotchi was drum roll, please. The Monoverse experience. Sorry, I got something in my throat here.
It was so much fun, man.
Yeah. If anyone was there, I would love to hear your thoughts on the party.
Oh man, I wish I was there. I was actually camping, so I was off grid for like 5 days. But
Nice.
I'm hoping some friends got in there. I hang out with the Rizzo crew every now and then, and they take us through Monoverse and show us all the incredible things that they're building over there, and I've been thoroughly impressed. And there's no better place, in my opinion, than the Monoverse to have some of the first 3D Aavegotchis. So yeah, shout out to the Whip Meetup crew, and they're doing I believe they do weekly events, so something to keep an eye on, and definitely go check out their Discord there. Really good people, really helpful, and I've had some really educational experiences hanging out with them too. So
About the I guess the event itself. Curious to hear what was your favorite for those that did attend. What was your favorite part of it?
GM, everyone. How's everyone
GM.
doing?
Hey man.
It was a lot of fun. We did a little this. They have this jumping game where it's there's a bunch of these it's almost like Cubert, except it's not a pyramid. So there's these little towers that you have to jump onto, and if you miss, you fall into this cavern, and then they have chasers that come after you. So it was pretty funny because there's just all these Aavegotchis jumping into the abyss, sacrificing themselves, trying to make it to the different pillars. But that was probably one of the funnest parts of the hangout. But overall, it was super duper cool, and I think it went really well.
Yeah, Gotchi Fall Guys, honestly, they're almost perfect. We need to have a Gotchi version of Fall Guys that involves ghosts and flying and going, invisible or going transparent for a little bit. It's it's such a perfect fit.
Yeah, there's so much you can do there. The Fall Guys, I totally forgot about that. The Fall Guys obstacle course was super fun. That was great.
Oh, I thought that's what you were talking about. Yeah. I remember I saw the screenshots of Gotchis falling into the abyss and then respawning.
Yeah, and the fans at the end were awesome. They were, sending Gotchis up 100 feet into the air. It was pretty rad.
Oh wow. Did we get a turnout about? Do we know how many Gotchis were there at once? Be cool to know some stats. Do we break 100?
That's something I can look into. Thrax, do you know if we got any info like that at this point, or I don't notice seeing anything in the marketing chat or anything.
I don't have stats based. I don't know how many people may have cycled through, but there were a lot of people there, man. A lot. The platform that we started on. If everyone had tried to stay there as a gachi, we wouldn't have fit.
Wow. Are
Like,
there collisions? Can you bump
y-
into each other?
so this is why we kind of sort of fit on the platform to begin with, because the collision for the gachi is like a little cylinder inside the VRM. It's like the bones kind of that's colliding and not the outside mesh right now. Um, so when we started, everyone was a different skin. I can't remember what the NFT was, but everyone like went to the gachi and hit E on the gachi and turned into one. So if the collision was based on the body, we would have all shot off the platform at that point.
Cool. Yeah, sounds like it was really fun time. I'm jealous. I was not in my time zone, but hopefully we do another one once we actually have real 3D gotchis, like the real fully rigged ones that we're working on. We'll do another big event. Celebrate
Yeah.
together.
So Little Alpha, I had a call with Justin yesterday. I'm working on a very cool activation for us. It's just not solidified yet, but there will be a Monoverse component if this does go through. So that will be in less than a month if it happens.
Ooh, some alpha.
Nice.
Yeah, the VRMs were like, I know they were working really hard to get the gotchi wobble and like some facial movement and all sorts of stuff, but it's very tricky. So I don't think that was quite ready for this event. But there's lots of room for improvement. It's gonna be only up from here. It's super cool to see all the development happening.
Yeah, they're just emotionless gotchis running
I
around.
mean, they are emotionless, but like they're smiling. Like there's something.
Yeah.
There's something
No, there's
mimetic
that
about them.
creepy, happy kind of Chucky vibe going on. Like,
Yeah, they always look so cute. Like they're all like a Mona Lisa smile kind of when you look at a gotchi moving. Good smile.
yeah, I always think of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in Ghostbuster at the end because he's
Yeah.
so cute, but he just destroys everything. And I could see a world in which this very cute gotchi just demolishes a city or something.
Nice. All right. Well, we won't linger too long on that, but yeah. Well, next time we have some more Monoverse collab, we'll make sure to let everyone know and make another big splash for it. Speaking of kind of events and big splash, Jesse Golden Cross, he was on a cool panel powered by Benzema and was joined by some of the marketing directors or founders from Splinterlands, Upland, Alien Worlds, and Jihaz from Sky Mavis. Axie was there too. Pretty cool panel, and he's repping Aavegotchi, getting our name out there. I didn't listen to the panel, but I heard Jihaz was talking about what was it like dynamic NFTs and Tamagotchis as like the big direction for Web3 gaming. Like, bro, I'm sure he knows about us, but he's gonna talk his bag, I'm sure. But it was, I think we're in the right space for sure, friends. So if you haven't already, go and have a listen to that panel. I've heard there's a little bit of alpha in there too, but you'll have to listen to the panel to get it. And let's see. Thrax, do you want to talk a little bit about the Voltron hackathon that you guys started? Was it yesterday, right? You had a call about that?
Yeah, the first meeting was yesterday. So that went really well. I'm very excited to report that we had a lot of like big brains in the room. We had, I think, attendance was probably 30-ish people, which for like a Friday and like a focused meeting is amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And they like I was meant to lead the thing, but I was so sick. And Al stepped up like a beast and led it, and did an amazing job, and the devs, honestly, like the people, not just devs, everyone who was interested, they did a great job of actually steering the meeting in a direction that made more sense than where I thought it was going to go, actually. Um, so like I had initially planned that we would start to discuss like possible like best practices or like coding standards or something moving forward. But they decided to actually step back a little bit further and decide on an objective for the hackathon, or like a few objectives for the hackathon. And they came up with a few things. One was better onboarding essentially for devs. Like they want an easy way for devs to be able to come in, get the lay of the land, pick up the ecosystem assets, and start making something, which is like a great idea in my opinion. And the other thing was, if I remember correct, well, we also want to have a better onboarding funnel in general.
Yep.
So if there's like a way that we can improve that, and then they wanted to, obviously we need to have some more conversations with the devs of Pixelcraft, right? This was very much like a kickoff meeting, just community. Um, Actually, Metan was in there, a little like casually. He didn't show up as PC rep kind of thing, but um, anyway, long story short, it went really well. We're moving forward with we're doing like asynchronous discussion in the Voltron Hackathon forum post. So we're just going to keep that going there, and obviously there will be documents that are going to spin off from that. And then we'll have another meeting. I believe it's also next Friday. But we're going to use I think that's the like soft idea, but we're going to use the lettuce meat that has been generated to figure out an exact time. So I strongly urge anyone that's interested, like guys, this is shaping up to be something awesome. Like uh, I have very, very high hopes for this. So if you're interested, show up to these meetings, talk, contribute, and like get involved because it's gonna be dope. Like I thought it was just gonna be people going and building off their own little projects, but they very quickly like they're like I'm good at this kind of thing, and they're someone else was good at something else. I mentioned like I could see mini super teams forming right here, and the 100 emojis were instant from so many people. So this is going to be something awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. So next steps, like if people listening want to get involved in this, we got the. Let me see. Maybe you could drop the link to like the Voltron hackathon discussion that is going on. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Aavegotchi. And just jump in and get your bearings and see contribute.
And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ping me or anyone involved with the hackathon or the Thank Aavegotchi initiative. We're happy to help.
Nice. Yeah, it's very, very cool. I love this, and looking forward to see what comes out of it. There are like Thrive rewards for participating in this, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that.
Yeah.
Of course, like so the Thrive part of this basically is we're rewarding every action that people take, whether small or big, basically. But the hackathon stuff kind of like has more weight to it because it's just bigger tasks. Season 1 of the Thrive Coin rewards program is like raffle based, so every contribution you make gets you raffle tickets, and the raffle tickets are entered into the raffle, which has like prize bundles. Some of them are ghost based, some of them are land based, some are wearables. There's like a starter kit gotchi that we've got a bunch of different things, and Soju did the art for the prize bundles,
Yeah.
which is phenomenal. I love them. So yeah, that's season 1, and then season 2 we're doing straight ghost. So every contribution you make is just rewarded with money. And then season 3 is rarity farming style. So it's essentially like the more contributions you make, the more rarity farming points you would essentially get. And the person with the most points gets the top end of the curve that we know and love. And so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, look at those prizes.
They're so pretty, man.
They are, man. Gorgeous. I like that milkshake.
I hope you're gonna mint this like somewhere and commemorate it.
Yeah, this would be either as like a maybe like one fake, just like where you put all these together, or you could do them separately, but it's almost cooler. It's like this is like the Think Aavegotchi kind of fake gotchis pack would be pretty neat. Cool. Any other final comments on that? Otherwise, we'll keep going here.
No, go ahead, man. I just wanted to say it was a success, and thank you everybody for showing up and like in force and taking over for me. I really
When
appreciate
will the next call be?
it. It's undecided as of yet, if I remember correctly. Like we were gently suggesting Friday, but I think the Let Us Meet is open. I'm not sure where the link for that is. I'll go
Okay.
try and find it. But yeah, if it wants to let their hours be known, just jump in there and make it known. And we'll do our best to accommodate as many people as possible, but it's, we're worldwide, so it's very difficult. We also can have like mini meetings in between. I mean, they don't have to necessarily be mini, but we can do catch-up meetings in between, basically, where we get the other side of the planet caught up on what happened.
All right. Well, the last couple things here before we get into the new alpha stuff or just kind of upcoming things, I did want to make everyone aware that you might be just waking up and looking at the server and being like, "WTF? What happened?" So if you haven't seen the announcement, here's a post I made earlier today. We did a little bit of spring cleaning here in the server, or I guess summer cleaning at this point. And we implemented a new functionality called onboarding that is provided by Discord. Basically, it just helps streamline the experience for new people coming into the server, so they don't get overwhelmed with like 1,000 channels, like coming in and seeing like all the support channels and scholar requests and like all the Think Aavegotchi channels and stuff. It's a bit overwhelming and all the like developer things. So basically at opt-in, you're opting into which channels you want to see. And so some of the channels that are kind of hidden by default are like DAO discussion, ghost talk, bazaar, fake gotchis, and then a lot of the think Aavegotchi stuff, developers, kind of all that is hidden until you go to the channels and roles section here in the Discord. And once you opt into those, like if you click trading NFTs and tokens, that's going to unlock the fake gotchis and the ghost and the bazaar. And playing games, that's going to unlock things like Gotchiverse updates and scholar request. And there's going to be a lot more to that soon as well. That's a little bit of alpha. Joining Aavegotchi DAO will give you it'll give you a read access to a lot of the Aavegotchi channels, but you're still going to need the Gotchi gang role to be able to actually participate, because we're kind of keeping the DAO participation more to actual Gotchi gang that is kind of proven on chain. And then there's developing on Aavegotchi. That's going to give you access to the developer section of the chat. Earning bounties will give you access to the ThriveCoin stuff. And then support/bug report is what it sounds like. If you need to make a support ticket or want to file a bug report for Aavegotchi or Gotchiverse, then you will just give yourself that role. And you can grant yourself these roles. You don't have it's kind of self-serve. And so, yeah, if you're just coming online in the US and are just looking at your server and be like, where'd all the channels go? Just go up to the top of the server. You'll see the channels and roles section. Just click on that and then opt into whichever categories you want. So this is we'll be able to see some statistics and kind of see how this is affecting like the user retention and things like that. But this is not the only thing that we're doing. We also implemented a server guide. So people, the first time they come into the server, they'll see a couple tasks that they can do. One of them is getting verified. One of them is viewing the announcements, and then also just going into the general chat and saying hi. So if we start seeing like more people coming in and like introducing themselves into the general chat, that's great. And let's give them a good Gotchi Gang welcome. And finally, we're going to be doing a kind of a server prune of all the unactive and unrolled members. So anyone who hasn't been in the server in 30 days and does not have a role is also going to get pruned. Just kind of like keeping the active users active and pruning out the ones that are not active. So yeah, that's kind of a little house cleaning side on the Discord, and we're going to be trying to keep this Discord as clean and new beginner friendly as we can as we start kind of ramping up a lot of the gaming stuff that's in the pipeline and more marketing. I think we'll start getting more and more new friends coming into the chat, and we want to make sure that they have a good experience. So go back to the stage here. Does anyone have any questions about that? Or anyone has not been able to get the roles or see the channels?
I think the
No,
cleanup's
I was able
great.
to go in.
Yeah, more beginner friendly and just more simple, less to look at. I think less is more in this case for sure.
Yeah. Faye says,
Yeah, I was
bring
gonna
back
say-
fake Gotchi bot, please. Yeah, that could be something we could bring back. We could also add a separate stuff. Like we can start getting a little bit more granular. So like if you don't want, if you don't care about fake gotchis, you're not involved in that, we could probably even get a little bit more granular with announcements or permissions like that. Yeah, Inun Mai says the architects channel will be deprecated. The devs chat will be the new place for that. We don't need two kind of channels for dev talk. We'll just keep it all into devs chat. And if things really start taking off, we'll probably make a forum for developers as well. Great, I'm glad you guys like it. And the final little alpha before we get into, actually this is a little bit moving into the upcoming new alpha section. I just want to let everyone know that offers for ERC 721, so Aavegotchi's portals and realm parcels are basically, they're on mainnet already. So the contracts have been deployed and we're just doing some final UI testing in production to make sure everything works properly. All the subgraph stuff, all that integration is complete. So looking at potentially next week, we will have offers live in the new dap.aavegotchi.com. And for ERC 1155, we are also working on the contracts for that and are going to be aiming to ship that fairly soon. But yeah, it's going to be really cool to have offers for Aavegotchis finally live. And a couple things about the offers, especially for Aavegotchis. If you make an offer, let's say on a portal, and that the owner of that portal opens it, and now it's an open portal where before it was a closed portal, that's actually going to invalidate your offer. So you don't have to worry about like placing an offer for a closed portal for 500 ghosts and then the owner of it opening it, and now it's technically only worth maybe 250 ghosts, and then them accepting the offer for 500 ghosts. That's the contract's not going to let them accept that offer because it has expired now. And that same mechanic will be used for things like the BRS of the Gotchi. So if the BRS changes between the time you make your offer and the time that the owner accepts it, then if the BRS has changed, it won't let them accept that offer. Same, and these are all the category one for the Aavegotchi or portal. That one is always set by default, but there's also kind of granular permissions that you'll be able to do for if you don't actually care about the BRS, you could actually say, I'm not too worried about that. But by default, the BRS will always be enabled. So yeah, that's a little bit of alpha on that. Offers will finally be coming, and then should make the marketplace a little bit more little bit more liquid and give a little bit more price discovery for some of these maybe less traded assets. Cool. I'm just looking through the chat here. And Gotchi Pocket. So actually, there is an opt-in if you are worried about the ghost. It's a little bit difficult in that it's kind of an on-off thing. So if you say I don't want my offer to be valid if the balance of the ghost in the pocket changes. That's kind of how we're handling that. So if the Gotchi had 10 ghosts and now it has 9 ghosts, then the offer will be invalid. But if it has 11 ghosts, it'll also be invalid because we're not keeping track of the exact amount of the ghost in the pocket. But we're just saying basically, we're not gonna allow that offer to go through if the ghost has changed. Cool. So let me get real quick, just a reminder that we do have the Rarity Farming Snapshot coming next week, June 29th. So start getting your gotchis prepared for that, and we'll be taking that snapshot and getting those ghost rewards out to everyone. So without further ado, let's bring up Scrooge for a little bit of discussion on Gotchi Heroes. Again, we don't have too much time. We had a great session last week about Gotchi Heroes, but Scrooge, if you want to share any updates or things that people can be paying attention to, go for it. I'll give you about 5 to 8 minutes here.
Take care, everyone. I'm gonna head out. Have a great day.
Great.
All right.
Later,
Cheers, man.
Fred.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, 5 to 8 minutes is a long time. So,
Okay.
I probably only need about 2 or 3. So, I just want to thank everyone for playing. It's been really fun. We have been stressed out like that we might see some extra bugs, and we did like find 2 or 3. So we eventually fixed them, and everything was pretty much smooth. So yeah, I wanted to tell everyone that we're going to take the snapshot like in like the next 5 minutes. Like the snapshot's going to be taken, but then yeah, someone did something that broke the leaderboard. But we did take a snapshot eventually. So around the time that the whole hangout started, we took our snapshot and we got the leaders and everything. So yeah, all should be good. I really want to thank Coder Dan, Jesse, uh, Lilac. There's a few other people, all the marketing people at Aavegotchi. Thrax, thank you. And especially the Aavegotchi arcade, for helping us sponsor some extra goes towards the prize pool funding, I know these events can be a little bit tricky sometimes. We need some prizes. We need to make it interesting. And I'm super stoked for the second round. So yeah, everyone, the snapshot has been taken. Prizes will go out and announcements will be made. We got all the data, so we're just gonna like work through it and then check our Twitter, check our Discord. We're gonna make all the announcements and then send out the ghost payments, the Gyro tokens, the NFTs, all the Gotcha Heroes starter packs and booster packs. So I just want to thank everyone for playing. I didn't expect that many players, and we reached like a decent amount. So yeah, that was awesome, guys. We killed like a million monsters. We opened like 6,000 packs. And it was such a fun thing for me to see more people playing the game, enjoying the game, and just thank you everyone. It's been really fun.
Great. Yeah, I see the comments in the chat. It's addictive. Yeah, it's great. I mean, such a simple game. Like these idle games are very, very simple. They don't take a lot of time, but they're kind of cool. Like the like the optimizer in me is like, how do I level up? How do I increase my DPS? And looking out, I can see that it could be pretty cool to actually play this like for real with like real money and things. So great job with the game, and I look forward to getting Gachi Heroes on Gachi Chain.
Definitely, yeah. That's the main thing for us, man. We got we got a lot
Right.
of plans for Gachi Chain. Like,
Great.
um,
Yeah.
everything that we're planning now is just going like we're not doing any updates now on Polygon because we just don't see the point. So everything we're
Yep.
planning and all the updates are just going to be like if Gacha Chain goes live, like we're gonna be there and we're gonna be ready for updates, and it's
Awesome.
it's gonna be a whole different game. It's gonna
Cool,
be
man.
fun. It's gonna be a way better experience than it is now. But I would like to get some feedback. So I'll be posting in the DAO to get some feedback and see what people thought. Just could get some ideas, like see what was good, what was bad. Because I mean, I know the game's not perfect. You know, there's still a lot of like stuff that people might find boring or unclear. But for me, like the idle game aspect, it was really fun. I had fun. I didn't reach the top 20, sadly. But yeah, some people did, and I'm stoked for them. You know, they're gonna get their ghost rewards and their booster packs and real NFT items that they can use in the real game. So yeah, yeah, congrats everyone. Good job.
Yeah, thanks. If you have like a type form or something, feel free to drop that or the link to your Discord, and you can definitely get some feedback and take that and see you on Gachi Chain. And there is just a reminder, there is one more round, so it's not over. There's one more round, and we'll get that the XP out to you guys soon as well.
Definitely,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. There's one more round, yeah. The next round will go live within maybe like 24 hours. We'll tweet about it, and there's gonna be like announcements in our Discord. And there'll also be some fake gotchi prizes this time. So like you'll get your ghost, your Gero tokens, fake gotchi, booster packs, starter packs. So XP, like the rewards are there. You know, just go and play and just have fun with it.
All right. We're getting close to the out of time here. I know the Gachi Farmy wants to come up. So just right before that, I want to give a little another little alpha drop here that we will have a new dev update from the Pixelcraft side also coming out the beginning of July. So you guys can start looking forward to that. And then, okay, without any further ado, let's bring on Gachi Farmy. And oh man, here comes some alpha. This is epic, guys. So get ready.
Hello guys, do you hear me?
Yep.
GM.
Yeah. Hello, GM Gotchi. How are you guys?
Good,
Very
man.
well.
How are you?
Mm-hmm.
Doing great.
So yep, we have some news. We wanted to bring some updates about the sandbox production we are doing since March now. So it's moving forward. But yes, as you mentioned, Kododan, we have a big announcement to make today. So it's time for Alpha, Kododan. Can I say it like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think for people who know the sandbox ecosystem, they have that avatar system. So you can buy an avatar or own an avatar and use it directly in the experience you are playing with. So with our project manager and sandbox marketing, we negotiated the fact that Aavegotchi should have a dedicated collection of avatar integrated in sandbox. So the thing is, it's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen very soon. So next week, on the July 1st, so during the next Hangout, there will be a snapshot taken. So every Gotchi holders would have a 1-to-1 avatar replicated in Sandbox with the shape that is going to be shared soon. I think we can put in the chat some draft about what could it be like. But basically, it would reflect some slots and of variables you are equipping of your Gotchis by the time of the snapshot. So hands, wearables, and pet aren't going to be integrated yet, but body, eyes, face, and head are going to be integrated. So yeah, if you want to have your own PFP in Sandbox, reflecting your Aavegotchi swag, have your best swag put on. I think it should already be, as it's rarity farming at the moment. But yes, that's the announcement we wanted to do today. So we would also be interesting to have your feedback on that. So yeah, basically every Gotchi that is going out of with already a summon, so not in a portal, is going to be reflected and bridged by the 1st of July. So you won't be able to see it until the full experience is released, but it will be done by then. So if you have any questions, yeah, don't hesitate to ask. We would be very happy to answer.
Wow,
I want to
that's
emphasize
incredible.
that this was not part of like the original, like what the DAO funded was not including this. This was totally negotiated by the Gotchi farming team with the Sandbox team. And yeah, this is huge. Like having Aavegotchis in natively in Sandbox with their wearables is insane. It's awesome. Great job,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you very much. Yeah, we really think that yeah, it's important for the partnership settle to have that kind of link with our own community. So that's the reason why we tried and we succeeded doing that. So it's cool if you like it, and yeah, we'll try to bring it as soon as we can. I'm not seeing the chat at the moment, but I think yeah, the visual was shared. So yeah, a few adjustments are to be made. That's very early draft version. Basically, it's all the data that are going to be stored by the 1st of July, but the final render would be shared with the community later on. But yes, you are going to be the aura. You are going to have the collateral of your Gotchi above your head, and you're going to be able to play with your Gotchi in every sandbox experience, and even in the experience coming, Aavegotchi. So yeah, that's we feel that it's gonna be very cool. And also we shared earlier today one tweet with a bit more explaining video about what is in motion in the production we are doing right now in Sandbox. So just to update you, we released the alpha to the Sandbox team mid-June. Since then, all the milestones have been achieved, so they are quite satisfied with the work we are doing. So yeah, I think I'm not ready, guys. It's gonna be. We hope you're gonna like it, but yeah, it's gonna be mind-blowing. We hope.
All right, so the snapshot is going to be July 1st, and I see people asking for a time. Do we know exactly what time it's going to be?
Yeah, I think it should be at the beginning of the Hangout, but we are gonna come back later during the week with the actual time.
Okay.
It's gonna be shared by Sandbox team. But yes, we in any case we would be here next week to announce. I think it's better if it's not right at the start, maybe a bit later on, something like 2:30 p.m. could be cool. I don't know what you think about it, but
And I'm sure people are going to ask if they change their clothes on Nagachi, that is not going to change the avatar, right? And until they do like a second snapshot, and that the frequency of that is not something that's like determined yet. It could be every month, it could be every 6 months. It's kind of up to the Sandbox team.
yeah, to be honest, it's a brand new mechanism they created. We're gonna use by bridging from Polygon. So basically, right now it's a 6 months update tool, but they announced that the aim of that tool is that it could update like every day by the end. So basically, I think in few months maybe. They can't guarantee that yet, but you could have like higher frequency of updates of your Gotchis in the avatar collection. Yeah.
Cool. That's so cool.
So yes, that if you change your variables after the first snapshot, it won't reflect in Sandbox yet. If that was the question.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Checking the chat here. And then Mr. Seb says that weapons are a separate asset on Sandbox and they will not be bridged. So it's really just the body wearables, head wearable, and eye wearable that will be bridged, right? And
Yeah,
what
and
about
face.
pets? And
Mhm.
yeah, and face.
Yeah. The pet is a function that Sandbox is really pushing. It's not available yet. But
Okay.
when we told them that we already have pets in Aavegotchi, they were like, okay, guys, I think you're ready for you're ready. So, yeah, when it's going to be available, that's something that would be able to be bridged, of course.
So raffles. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, if you want to have a little bit of alpha about what you can find, you will be able to find the experience. You can follow the tweets we are trying to put out every week. So on the new one, you can see like a root of the tree of FUD and a godlike raffle, the messenger of the tree of FUD. So yeah, that's gonna be part of the story.
Yeah, everyone go. If you're not following Gotchi French Army, definitely go give them a solid follow. This is looking. I mean, this is going to be a super cool experience.
Yeah. So thank you very much for having us, Kodedan. That's a wrap for us. Don't hesitate if you have questions. We will try during the summer to be a bit more present by sharing the work. Well, we were in a really deep phase of production since March. So it's we will try to share more more often our production, and don't hesitate to ask if you have questions. So thanks a lot, guys.
Nice. Logan saying, is Sandbox going to make an announcement about this? If I was thinking, like, if No Future made like an update on Twitter about this and tagged Sandbox, do you think that this is something they might retweet?
Yeah, so we coordinated with the Sandbox marketing team. So next week, we should have to push a tweet with the Aavegotchi official account, I guess, for every people that can't be here today to know that there's going to be a snapshot. And Sandbox agreed to make some noise around it. So they're going to retweet with their official account. So
Awesome.
yeah, we just need to coordinate.
Cool. Yeah, we should do like some spaces with like Sebastian and more of the Sandbox team. Get our communities commingling a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. And they are demanding on their side too. I think the things they like in the Aavegotchi approach for the Sandbox experience is that most of their experience are more like Web 2 based and think of. And our approach, even for monetization and everything, it's deeply Web 3. So even for the, I would say the process, the rewards that are going to be available for Aavegotchi asset owners and everything, it's mainly Web3 oriented, and to be honest, we have some ideas that I think they're going to use again on some other experience, things that never did before. So it's really like a process for both teams to upgrade, and so it's very cool, to be honest. Yeah.
Awesome. You guys are really pushing the envelope. I love it. Gotcha Gang is
So,
lucky to have you guys.
well, thank you very much. But we have also, we are lucky we got the support to do that project, and well, I would say the trust that is put in us. So we will try, and we are trying our best to get the best experience we can for the community. Yeah.
All right. There you heard it, friends. major partnerships coming with Sandbox right in the pipeline. First ever Gotchi avatars in Sandbox. And we got some awesome gifts here too. Love these gifts. The breakdancing Gotchi. I love the way that you guys did the hands. So I would never have thought to do that. It's so fun.
T-Bird, question from T-Bird here for Gotchi Farmy. Anything happening at ECC for the GFA?
That's a really good question. We are in Paris, yes. So we are trying to coordinate with Jesse because I know that I think Lilac also is going to come to ECC this year. We're going to try to coordinate. Even during NFT Paris in February, we went to see Sandbox. We had some cool hoodies, Aavegotchi Sandbox. So maybe we can try to do something similar this time, but we really need to find the time to organize that.
Nice.
Cool, friends.
Yeah.
Well, we're pretty much at the end of this part of the hangout, but I did want to give, if there's anyone who wants to come up real quick or has a tweet that you'd like to share with the gang here, maybe talk about something you're working on, or just get some. I see Flame here is mentioning, got the Happy Murder Gotchis piece, 3-day auction coming up. Very cool. And Soju's got a little bit of alpha art alpha. Raffle nibs.
Oh, he's been working. This is an epic piece. Like, I've been kind of following this along, and I was lucky enough to get a little early alpha on this, but this is Soju's masterpiece that he's been working on. And so, I definitely got my eye on this one. Raffletopia with this Raffle Sapien. And if you're at the Art Summit, he actually showed us how to draw these little guys, and it was kind of a fun experience to do the draw with Soju and actually get to see like his the process. Yeah, it took you months. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, you got the banana, got the Nimbus cloud. Oh man, there's so many little Easter eggs. Flying raffles, candles. Oh man,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
so cool. Hey, do we know what this is going to be? Is it going to be how many editions of it?
I want to say it's a 1-on-1, but let's see. Coming to the Fake Gotchis collection. Maybe Soju might have some alpha on that.
Undecided. All right.
Well, after seeing Z-Bot's piece and the excitement around that, I feel like this is very kind of deserving of Soju 1-on-1, but leave it up to everyone to decide, right? I mean, it would be cool to have this as a 1-of-1, and then each one of those Raffle Sapiens that you did could be like a little, they could be part of a series of NFTs or a series of fakes that come after, derivative pieces.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the 1-on-1s. As a potential 1-of-1 owner here in about 5 minutes, I mean, I love it, but I also love for more people to be able to, have it in their gallery. We got 5 minutes left on fake Pepe here. A godlike breed of Pepe, Gotchi, and Raffle. Should be an ungodly breed. Sir. Oh, awkward AI, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Hammer time.
This is why he was being so low key about the piece. He's like, let's see, was there anything new going on? Don't look over here.
Oh, Thrax.
The competition is fierce. Oh, Thrax, that's cool. Yeah.
Thrax, is it a GIF? Can we get that as a GIF already? That'd be sweet.
I think we can drop that.
Seems to have failed. All right, friends. Yeah, a couple more minutes. Any more tweets? Anyone want to get amplified here? Where we got the gang hanging out?
I don't have a tweet, but I want to say, if you are active in the DAO, try to be more active in the Twitter Spaces. They're actually like a lot of them are now very DAO centric, and like I got to have a conversation with Frank the Gods about DAOs and what him hinting at like D Gods DAOs coming out down the lines. But it's like kind of a hot topic. So if you can get out there and talk about it, people are interested in our perspective because we are OGs in this DAO space.
So yeah, good shout out. I mean, if there's ever like we have this Gotchi social channel, not really used that much, but I feel like it's a good channel. Let me see. I think it should be available to all the Gotchi gang. So like, if there's ever spaces that you think people should be join, like if you got a spaces and you'd love to get some like Gotchi gang, you drop it in there, and we definitely need to be more active on Twitter. Get in those spaces. We got such a great gang here. So yeah, Gotchi socials or Gotchi follow Gotchi, whatever we want to call it. Let's get that channel a little bit more active here. Oh, nice. You guys got the animations going. Very cool. Nice, friends. All right, well, we will call this hour here. I think I'm gonna check the agenda here, and let's switch gears a little bit. Speaking of the DAO, and move over to some of the DAO business.
DAO business. I guess we can, as usual, kick it off with snapshot. Let's just go through quickly proposals, and we can go through some recent ones that passed, as well as a new proposal. It's labeled as a core proposal. I didn't realize there was a signal proposal, but we'll talk about that. Okay, so from last week, Agip 85 has passed officially, and so that's schedule all Act 1 parcel surveys, or the re-rolls, and heavily in favor of 14 million votes on this one, and 11 million votes voting in favor of the scheduled re-rolls. So the surveys have been outlined here, and there is a schedule that will be implemented based on this vote. So there's the schedule there, and that's when you can expect to see these re-rolls, especially for those heavy Alchemica farmers draining those parcels. This will be good for them. And so that has passed. Let's go back here. The Gotchi Battler funding, and this is a initiative led by Immaterial. He's put together a really interesting sort of Gotchi Battler using stats. You have basically 2 teams of 5 Gotchis that'll battle each other until, of course, one team is wiped out. And maybe we were talking about this yesterday on Block Party, and we could talk about it later in the call today, but the possibility of this, being part of rarity farming or some sort of player rewards funded by the DAO is also something to discuss there. This one has passed with 11 million votes again, 89% of the DAO in favor of, and it met quorum with 13 million votes. So we will look out. I believe this is a signal proposal, so we'll look out for the core proposal. Or no, this is a core proposal. Sorry. It's labeled as a core proposal. So that's that. Gotchiverse Environment in Music Parkour. This is a brand new proposal, I believe, or it's been up for a couple days now. It's more than a week. I mean, I guess you can have a SIG prop up for more than a week. Yeah, Crypto Gotchi Music Parkour. You can definitely come up and say a little bit about your proposal here. Definitely can come up and let you speak on that.
Hey there, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, GM.
GM. I think since the whitelist everything is now labeled a core proposal.
Oh, got
At
you.
least
Okay,
I didn't have an option to say it's not.
got you. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for inviting me up and giving me an opportunity to speak about it. As you already said, I did make it 2 weeks because recently we had some concerns about reaching quorum. So I wanted to make sure that it just runs long enough for so that it's possible to reach quorum. But yeah, even after the second day, it was like really split, and I think now more are not in favor of it. So I thought I could speak a little bit about it, and maybe people can ask some questions, and yeah, maybe tell me a little bit about their concerns or criticism. So Music Parkour is a VR rhythm game where players navigate through obstacle courses, overcome hurdles, strike down objects to the rhythm of the beat. If you heard or played Beat Saber, if you heard of or played Beat Saber, then you're already familiar with the genre. But just in case, to give you an idea about the game, I'm gonna drop 2 videos in the chat. Let me see here. And while those are processing, let me explain a little bit about environments, because that's what the SIGPROP is about. Have you ever played a game and thought, oh wow, this is really awesome, but it could be so much better if it wasn't in a forest, but instead it was a desert, because I really love deserts, or a cave, or a spaceship, or the Gotchiverse. This is one of the reasons people make Me Too games, and for these rhythm games, there are already many out there. In fact, 2 years before Beat Saber came out, a game came out called Beat Ninja, which is almost identical. But in the end, no one was interested in that game because, yeah, the visuals were not there. Visuals are king. And that's why in Music Parkour, the game's visuals are tokenized. So by owning and selecting a different environment, the game will look completely different, yet play the exact same way. So when you put effort into building a really cool map or for a song, you don't have to build it for all the environments or for one specific environment that you like. It will just work in all the environments. I hope that makes it a little bit more clear that we're not talking about like making one level or one map for the DAO. We're talking about almost a whole new game, so that's what it will look and feel like to the player. Now that you know a bit about the game, I'd really like to hear from you all. So far, the DAO, like I said, is a little split on it, and I'm really hoping that I can change some minds from no to yes, because in case you didn't know, you can actually change your vote.
And I mean, you've been working on this for a little while, and you kind of live and thrive in this space of like virtual reality, designing games and whatnot. Can you maybe at a high level kind of explain what the player as a gotchi would be doing in this game, for maybe those of people in here that maybe aren't familiar with like the beat smashing style games?
Right. I think the videos just finished loading, and like the saying goes, pictures are worth more than 1,000 words. If you're still wondering after seeing the video what it's about, basically it's you dancing to the music, but you have to do it in a way that you hit certain objects with certain hands, dodge things, and yeah, just like move to the beat and do all the right things to gain the most points. And if you fail, like if you crash into a pillar or if you hit your head, or something, then you lose health, and if you have no more health left, then you have to restart from scratch, like the level.
Right. I remember you also mentioning the format this is going to be played in. Like, is this all fully VR capable? Is someone going to be able to do this like as a virtual experience, or is this more of like a browser enabled experience? Like, how will the player play this game?
It's a standalone VR game. Right now, it's recommended for tethered VR, but I'm working on getting it working smoothly on standalone VR as well. So, for example, if you have a Quest or so.
Okay.
Um,
So it's
right.
a
And
VR
for
enabled like beat competition game, kind of. Correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of like Guitar Hero, because I just think of that, and that's kind of like one that most people would kind of understand. Okay, that's kind of the general idea of what you're doing, right?
right. And instead of hitting the right keys, you have to use your hands and arms and legs to hit the right things and dodge other things.
Very cool. And what are your thoughts on? I mean, this could be a side thing, but you know, we all know that 3D Aavegotchi assets are also going to be available at some point. What's like your overall vision for this game? Is it to make it a fully Aavegotchi themed experience with the 3D Aavegotchis and Aavegotchi themed environment, or is it more just to have access for Aavegotchi avatars in this game?
Um, yeah, so like the SIG prop says, it's making a whole Aavegotchi environment. So it will basically be like reskinning the entire game. So instead of this forest environment that you'll see, you have a full-fledged Gotchiverse environment. I already talked to Jesse, and he said he was welcome. Or no, no, he was okay with licensing us the IP rights, and thought it was a cool idea. At least that's how I picked up on it. And yeah, so you basically will be in virtual reality in the Gotchiverse. That's how it will look like.
Very cool. I also see Mikey J's made some points here. One question I could ask here is, uh, you know, like what's the player base like for this game, or is this currently a standalone game? Like you're starting to build a player base from Aavegotchi, or is this a game that already kind of exists in some form or has a player base already?
So the game is not yet released publicly.
Okay.
It works, it's fun to play, it's already age-rated by the USK. Those are these people that give you the PG rating, or the equivalent in Germany anyway. It's rated suitable for children above the age of 6, so it's family friendly like everything in Aavegotchi. Yeah, but it's not yet publicly released. We could actually release it together with the Gotchiverse environment as like one big thing, if that's what the DAO wants.
All very interesting points here, and so yeah, I mean the proposal is live, so y'all should go check that out. If you haven't voted already, you should go check it out and vote on that. Uh, there is quite a bit to read through there. If people want to ask questions or follow up on this conversation, or maybe even the content in your Signal proposal, where can they do that? Do you have a forum post or DMs, or how would they reach you?
Yes, so I just linked the Discord forum post. Then there is also a Discourse forum post. We also have our own Discord server, so you could use any of those three to reach out, ask questions. Yeah, tell me your concerns, whatever. Like let's make it happen, and let's work together on it.
Yeah, very cool. And not often that we see AR and VR enabled experiences. Well, we haven't yet. I think this might be one of the first few uh, like DAO member community managed AR or VR experiences being put together. And also, very another thing I noticed here is very reasonable ask actually to put this together, in my opinion, compared to, and not to say it's not warranted, but also just noting that this proposal is asking for 27,000 USD in a payout structure over 6 weeks, and I think that's a very reasonable ask. But does anybody
Yeah.
else have any other comments or questions on CryptoGotchi's VR music parkour experience?
Is there any like part that's linked to the smart contracts, or basically we're using like you're just pulling the gotchi from the chain and just using it? Like how are the traits interpreted, and what kind of thinking has gone into that?
So far, not much because, well, you are not, you are not playing as the Gotchi. You are playing as a player, like any player. But the environment would be the Gotchiverse, and there would be Gotchis running around. But there is technically no need to pull certain traits from contracts. In the proposal, I mean, I tried to like Hefe already touched on. I tried to keep the cost as low as possible. So there was one Gotchi and a couple wearables in there. But since you mentioned that you are anyway planning for a 3D SDK, we could even take that out and make it a little bit cheaper even, because then we could just use the Aavegotchis from the SDK and would just have to build the Gotchiverse around it.
I love the Gotchi Vision song contest, because my next question was like, what is the music that we are kind of playing to?
So we had 4 great songs produced. 2 of them you can are featured in those teasers, and 2 others are still secret. Well, not really. And the rest of it is hopefully going to be user-generated content. So our plan is to team up with Eureka. They do verifications for everything, but they specialize in music. So if you buy a verification from them for your song, you will get a token. They will do research on it, make sure you didn't rip anyone off, and then they will basically give you a certificate that verifies that you have the rights to this whole creation. And this token would enable us to make onboarding really simple, because we would just have to check those tokens, and then you could mint your song in the music parkour environment, which would make you eligible for royalties, and it would enable you and others to make levels for your song.
For those are in the chat that are like, if there are any members that have not voted for this that are here present, I'm just curious, like, are there any reasons that you guys specifically think that you're voting against this proposal? Or you just think that maybe, like Mikey J said, maybe it's too early, worried about gaining a player base for it, not enough value flow back to Aavegotchi assets holders, for example?
The thing is, when you start out, you don't really have a player base, so this is pretty much grassroots.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I think the benefits to the DAO enable us when we're trying to put together gaming loops and experiences for Aavegotchi asset holders and to draw people in. So having another one at this price, I think, added to, if we can get this like linked into our tab of like mini games or activities that people can check out, I think it strengthens us for the low cost. But that's just me.
I'll just say this is $8,000 more than the Anata NFTs that we're holding and are currently not doing anything. But also Mikey J also makes some good points there, and you know, especially this being a VR experience. Like I do not have a VR headset. I don't like. I personally at this point don't know very many people in my life that have one. Of course, many that want one, and we've seen the products are getting better every day. There's new products coming out. You know, we've seen the Apple VR headset. But I also wonder, like in this audience, how many people actually do own a VR headset that would be able to get the full experience at this point.
And if the audience is not Gotchi Gang, like recently there was this game, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, Only Up, that got a ton of streamers playing it because it was just so freaking hard. But so I'm curious, like, I wonder if there's any aspect of this game that you think would be popular with like VR streamers. Like, is there a chance that if it gets launched on Steam or something, that it could, attract an audience there?
So, given that Beat Saber is pretty much the most popular VR game, I think it has a good chance to become popular, especially because of the variety that that is planned for it, like all the different environments, adding more obstacles and so on. But it can not go onto Steam because Steam does not allow anything that involves blockchain technology. I am currently working on getting it on Viveport though, and it will of course be on itch.io.
And itch actually does have a fairly large user base as a platform as a whole, which is that's good to know. In terms of like exposure and like what Coder Dan is saying, just the exposure to streamers and ultimately like exposure to the brand, right? The brand of Aavegotchi.
Like they're saying in the chat, like Goblin Town wasn't part of the game at all, but there was some usage of the IP in the game that was really interesting, and people were noting. People have never heard of Goblin Town, like what is this goblin on the guy's backpack, or like the graffiti everywhere.
Yeah, that stuff is powerful because it sneaks into lore. Like, okay, this game is just blowing up. It's like a little side note. Oh, also, it's an NFT collection, and we kind of got you because you don't like most of these gamers try not to associate with NFTs, but they can't avoid it at this point. So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, maybe one last question. What do you think is like gonna separate this music parkour from Beat Saber or Beat Ninja? Like, what is the key kind of difference that you view of this game compared to those? And like, is it an advancement in the kind of space for those kind of games somehow?
Well, different aspects. I mean, the most obvious is the crypto integration. We have quite a vast ecosystem planned. Other than you, like I started with the game, and like the crypto integrations come later. But the plan is there, and but we are still very much open for input. So if you want to read, any of you want to read the light paper and have comments, I'd love to hear them. Other than the crypto integration, it's obviously the different environments. I think at some point, not at first, but at some point, Beat Saber also started like giving people the option to choose their environment, but they all look the same. Whereas in music parkour, you have like completely different things, which immerses you into completely different worlds. And also there are some more obstacles that we already have the assets for, but are not yet implemented into the gameplay, that are pretty unique as far as VR rhythm games go.
I see Dr. Wagme adding a comment here. that it seems like the value accrual here would be, and I agree, is the IP here, having Aavegotchi out there, especially on a completely different platform, and available to a different user base, like you were saying, VR gamers. Um, but it's maybe Coder Dan can chime in on this, in terms of the IP. How's Pixelcraft thinking of the IP usage in cases like this? Is this something that you see as primarily a Pixelcraft uh, thing, holding the actual IP itself? Or I know there's been discussion in the past of just licensing it, so that could be done as well. But how are you guys thinking about the IP's usage in this context?
Yeah, I think Aavegotchi is still a fairly young project, and we Pixelcraft like views ourselves as currently the custodians of the IP, but we're not out there like preventing people from using it. If you like, I think uh, CryptoGotchi has already talked with Jesse, and like we're happy to license the IP for him to use in this game. It's just so I don't quite agree that like the value accrual to the Aavegotchi IP, I think is good for everyone that is involved in Aavegotchi. I wouldn't really separate them like that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not planning to like go CC0 like anytime soon. That's a very controversial kind of thing to do. It didn't work for Moonbirds, kind of wrecked their whole project. It depends on the project. I think in this case, we're just custodying it for the time being. Maybe there's a time in the future where the DAO is mature enough to actually manage an entire IP without us like CC zeroing it. But I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, thank you for kind of taking us through this CryptoGotchi, and very interesting proposal, reasonable ask in my opinion, and I think if you guys have questions regarding the VR aspect of this experience, what his overall vision. I know I've spent a few calls talking to you about this vision earlier on when you were explaining it to me, and I was really
Right.
there's a lot of moving parts to this, and you're kind of taking a high level view because you don't want people getting lost along the way. But there are actually layers to this experience that he's thinking about, and I encourage anybody who's wants to know more or either needs clarity to either reach out to him directly or check out the forums. But this is a very interesting proposal, and I think could be, given the ask, I think could be a really interesting experiment for Aavegotchi DAO. So, thank you for sharing that today, and
Thank
is
you
there-
very much for the opportunity.
of course. All right.
Phase,
Phase,
why?
man, that shit gets me every time.
Okay, boy.
Oh man, that's a meme right there. I mean, that's a meme right there.
Oh, jeez, it really is.
Okay.
Scary, man.
Well, I guess we should look at the forum and see like what active discussions we got going on there, and of course, if you got something you'd like to present or discuss regarding current DAO events or current proposals, you can feel free to come up as well. Let's see.
Yeah, while you're checking, we finally got the subgraph synced, and we're also working to reduce the syncing time. So the new Gotchi channeling and the Gotchi lending should be live also quite soon. We'll have to do some UI testing with it now that it's the subgraph is synced, but aiming to have that live very soon as well. Sorry for the wait, friends, but it just took longer as a feature, and then the subgraph obviously took forever to sync on that. But we've gotten it down quite a bit, I believe, with some clever coding.
Nice. I see a conversation here, a bit of an early conversation, but maybe I'll give him the opportunity if you'd like to. Mikey J has put up a post here on a new methodology to guide your trait selection for future schematics, and having this result in a more balanced meta, and catering to different areas of player demand as we get into different kinds of games, and trait selection is gets more important. So if you would like to discuss this, Mikey J. Oh, we already covered that. Okay. You added a new section to the light paper on sets. Got you.
Hey, maybe we can just call it early. There's nothing pressing.
We could, and I mean, honestly, right now is a. It seems like people are just grinding right now in the DAO. We have the Gotchi Farmy building out a incredible experience. I know there's some work going on with Botanica, so I know our core has been working on Botanica there. I'm pretty excited for what they're working on, and of course we got Legan working on Stratagachi Tactics, which we also discussed a couple weeks ago. So
I think like if we're gonna get these kind of funding requests from the DAO, it maybe be interesting for the DAO to actually like tell community members or developers, internal and external, what kind of game it would like to fund.
True. I mean, we've been talking about a racing game for a long time now, and I would love to see Aavegotchi racing game. I know many of y'all would love to see that too. So, like, that's just one I thought of off the top of my head. But Gotchi Kart, exactly. Yeah.
We actually do have a lead that we're following up with on Pixelcraft side that has made racing games in the past. But I mean, that doesn't mean that the community, like a community developer or team, couldn't work on it.
Yeah, I mean, so are you kind of thinking of like a list, like a request list from the DAO? Like, hey, if you're a game developer, a game studio, you're coming in here. These are some of the things we would like.
I think that would help. That would not help not only community members or developers or teams that want to push the gaming side of Aavegotchi forward, but don't necessarily know exactly what to build. And it would also give us a list that we could, go out on the BD side for our internal searching and tell them and kind of look and see if there's games that fit the specs. Obviously, it's not going to be a full list, but could be interesting to have like that list made by the community.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. You guys had a really great setup there with the canny. Did you find people were using that, and did you get any like good requests coming through there?
We did. We did get a few requests, and that actually did get integrated into the Gotchiverse. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe that's something the DAO can think about, is having our own canny. Open that up for game requests and collect feedback there, and then we can maybe curate a list. And I think that would be an easy thing to put up and just pin somewhere for people to reference for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
And then also like,
go ahead.
We're also planning to put out a kind of a grants program sometime later this year. But it would also be interesting for the DAO to like tell community developers, like here's the budget we may be open to offering you, like assuming we don't again have the DTF up and running, which we still probably should, but giving some clarity on what type of amount the DAO is willing to fund a project like that for would be good to know.
We just need to recreate a whole bunch of 8-bit games. Like, give me some, like, racing games, old school Nintendo racing games that I could spend Alchemica on, and potentially, have a leaderboard tied to it so I can compete with other people. Anything, all those kind of experiences could work so easily. I don't know, like, what it would cost to put together something on that level, but with the blockchain integrations and whatnot, you would need, but more stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and just on that DTF topic there as well, I think that's something we could discuss here as well. Just a quick update from the Forge team as well. They will be proposing a release of 15 to 20 new schematics using the methodology, and traits and reasoning will be published for the DAO soon. And let's see, we're hoping for feedback on distribution and discussing a big portion in geodes, maybe a small auction, and removal of the raffle. So stay tuned for that. Just some comments rolling in here as well. Mikey J saying, I think the biggest thing missing from most of the game concepts that have been floated is a tight economic model that drives value back to gachi assets. Other than that, anything that's fun. I think it should start with being fun.
Yeah.
I think that should be the number one. And, that has been a requirement for every game that's ever been made, is that has to be fun. Otherwise, people will not play it. But second to that, I think if it's able to be fun, then that opens the door for it to drive value to the assets. Because people want to play it, and you'll get engagement there. So
I guess it depends what we mean when we say, driving significant value back to gachi assets.
yeah, like are people talking about a great experience in a game? Is that value, or are we counting just the monetary value? Because I think value comes in different forms as well. There's this concept.
Rental market would probably be a good indication of driving value, like people wanting to grab the assets to play these games because there's a use case for either joy or winning something.
Yeah, I mean, there's this concept in the restaurant business of the leaky bucket, and it could be either a good thing or a bad thing. If you have a guest that comes in, they have a great experience with coming to your place, they will talk to it about their friends, and that is actually considered as value, because those are people that may come back as new customers. And so and then on the other side of things, if you do a terrible job and they have a terrible experience, they're going to talk about that experience, and maybe for every person that has a terrible experience, there's 10 people that hear about it, because it's easier to talk about bad things. So there's that. There is value there in creating a good, engaging, fun experience, in my opinion. But I see Mikey J's on stage as well. Welcome.
Hey. Yeah, I just want to clarify. Yeah, I agree. I think the fun part is absolutely first, because I think that's where the value has to stem from. But I think beyond that, you have to think about, what is going to be like the way in which the DAO really benefits from from a game, if the DAO is going to be providing funding. And so, I think there's tons of opportunity to create games that sort of give value back to the assets by way of enhancing the gameplay experience, right? So it's like Pixelcraft really always has this in mind when they're thinking about the arena or other stuff they're working on. How do the protocol assets unlock additional experience in the game? It doesn't have to be, pay to win or whatever. Maybe having higher or more rare assets gets you access to different parts of the game that you couldn't have access to, or maybe it gets you into like high roller type of tournaments or things like that. Like how do I benefit as an asset holder? Like, why does this game make me want to go buy more Aavegotchi assets? Like, that's kind of what I'm looking to see from games. And if it's fun and then I'm compelled, I'm like, well, this is really fun, I want to keep playing, I'm gonna, I want to experience this new thing in the game. I might go acquire more wearables, or I might have to burn glitter to do something, or I might have to use alchemica to do something, to craft a potion to enhance my experience, or do something with a cosmetic. I think that's what I want to see from games, really. It's like, how can they first be fun, and then second, like how do they integrate tightly with the protocol's assets to increase their value, increase demand for the assets?
Yeah, that's pretty much almost a requirement if it's a game that Aavegotchi wants to support. Like you gotta integrate the assets somehow, whether it's a gotchi. Most of the time, it's a gotchi. Like having a gotchi and doing something with it, getting the benefits of the various wearables. So that might be some feedback for music parkour. Like if we're just talking about environments, then the Aavegotchi is not really being utilized as strongly as maybe the community would prefer it to be.
Hey there. If I may interject, so the reason originally that was not planned was to keep the cost way down, because having to make 7 wearables and one gotchi cost way less than having to make like 200 or 300 or whatever, how many wearables we have right now. But with the SDK and you providing all the wearables and gotchis, there is nothing standing in the way of music parkour pulling the data from on chain and then assembling your personalized gotchi to either be in the pedal that you use to break things, or you might see him hide there, or like one could even think about having him assist you, like fly near you, and if you miss something and the gotchi is close to it, it might pick it up or something.
So Coder Dan, we were talking about like the gotcha being used in games, and we talked about only up. Would those kind of situations qualify? Like just like a gotcha piece of IP in the game, but the game has the ability to go viral.
Well, like I don't know the story of how Only Up did what they've done. It could just be like plain luck. I mean, obviously I think there was some relationship they had with the Goblin Town community, or the founders, or someone, like or maybe it's just like a holder thought it'd be fun to make a game that integrated the IP. Who knows? I don't know if that's a model for what we should try to do with all games, but it definitely got a conversation started, and people were talking for sure about Goblin Town, which is in a good way. Like this game is freaking insane, and there's like this weird NFT IP that's like along with it. So any sort of conversation where you can break out of break in through the noise and actually start getting more attention in the social spaces is always good. Is it going to directly drive like sales? Maybe not. Maybe a portion. That's like a type of funnel.
Yeah, I mean the Aavegotchi is a part of the overall Aavegotchi metaverse, right? It's your avatar, your representation of like your participation in the Aavegotchi metaverse, but you have to want that first. You have to want to get there first and actually want to be a part of that. And so how do you do that? I think you start with making a fun game, and if the game can also do some storytelling, like we do have some lore in Aavegotchi, if you're able to do some storytelling through the experiences in your game, even if it's a little platform game, with 3 levels, and there isn't a whole lot, it's just like one enemy, but you're going through and you're actually able to tell a story. So by the time the player is done playing the 3 levels, they've come away with that experience being like, that was a fun game. I learned about this thing called an Aavegotchi. We collected some of these fake tokens in this game, and I learned a little bit about crypto. Like that was always kind of what I envisioned, if I was to like design a little Aavegotchi themed kind of game. Would just be like a short little series of levels, and then you learn something from it, and maybe that makes you want to be a part of this community or a part of this metaverse.
Yeah, I think the integration is kind of like a spectrum. You can literally just use the IP, and that's as far as you go. or you can use the IP and integrate. I think I talked about this last week too. You can integrate the level 1, which is like using the on-chain SVG and the owners and the traits of that gachi. Level 2 is like giving more utility to specific wearables or all of the wearables. And then level 3 would be like actually giving specific animations and cool abilities to each wearable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So kind of where we are right now, I think with what Mikey J is talking about is like a level 1 integration where you get the real on-chain gachi lending is used, and the wearables are utilized in some way to affect the traits which are used in the game. That's kind of what the bar we've generally set for G powered games.
Do you think the hierarchy of integration could be recognized by the DAO? Like I see Mikey J saying the bars are different, and I totally agree. Even in terms of complexity, it's much higher to integrate blockchain assets and make them work smoothly and effortlessly, as if you were to just add them as objects in a script. It would be much different. And so level 1 is a great place to be right now. I totally agree. But let's say someone was to make a level 1 integration style game where they just use the IP, and somehow that got wildly popular and got a lot of attention. Is the DAO going to recognize this in retrospect? And No Future, you should chime in on this because you had a really good conversation with Frank DeGods about this. But like, what do we think about retroactive recognition for these experiences that maybe, I think we should be doing our best to encourage people to do this, because if we're not, people simply will not feel like they're going to get recognized for their efforts, and maybe
Like
that's what
devs are
Cody
gonna
Dan's
take
list
their
comes
deving. They're gonna take their dev skills to other IPs that
Yeah.
like might support them. We are in a market here. Their dev talent is like good dev talent is scarce. So if we, as a community, as the NFT holders, want people to build on our IP and our platform and in this project, you gotta give them some clarity on like what the expectations are. I think another aspect to this is that CryptoGotchi mentioned it. Like Steam does not like blockchain stuff, so it was kind of it was cool the way that they did it with up only or only up. It's like it's technically kind of using, it's a blockchain NFT, but it's not. There's no utility for it whatsoever in the game. There's no wallet. There's nothing, but they still got people to be talking about their IP. So I thought that was pretty clever. Like kind of, it's like a little bit of a workaround. So it's a fun game, or it's a really freaking annoying game, and then there's like a little bit of NFTs thrown in there. That was a good mix for Steam. Now,
Yeah.
we don't have to be on Steam, but there are a lot of gamers on Steam, and so it is a big.
Actually, I had a question because I think me and Hefe talked about it briefly yesterday. The idea of having, like, there are other DAOs that are gaming DAOs that have treasuries in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Will we ever consider as a DAO building something on their SDKs with our IP to potentially be a revenue source? Would that be out of the scope of the mission of the Aavegotchi DAO?
Wait, could you say it again?
I was saying there are other gaming DAOs that have large treasuries and are open to funding stuff being built on in their protocol. Will we be open as the Aavegotchi DAO of like trying to like fund stuff to be created in other people's ecosystems, but with our IP? Like if we want to do something on the other side, once they release
Right.
a SD.
Well, yeah, that's what we're doing with Sandbox, and I think it's working pretty well.
Yeah, Sandbox a little different though because it's agnostic. I guess it feels agnostic in terms of brand because it's like the Sandbox thing, but there are all these different experiences. Where that would be more like if the Nouns DAO wanted to do something, and it's like kind of nounish, but also with a gotchi twist to it. Like I think I wonder if we would entertain ideas like that.
Like a gaming experience, you mean, right? Because I know there have been some discussions on like Aavegotchi collabs and whatnot, but kind of a similar idea, but with a gaming element to it.
Yeah, like the devs of our DAO who are looking to actively build, like we can try to seek funding from other sources for them to build, but using our IP, so that we're like kind of bridging that gap between us and other communities, but also getting this workout because
Got you.
event like just it's a little cross pollination.
Yeah, I think cross pollination never hurts for sure. It's generally win-win.
And I mean the Voltron hackathon, just as a side note, I think it's a really good idea, and I think will also result in some really great talent being showcased. Um, I think we should be thinking more. I'm curious to know what the results of that hackathon are going to be like, but it sounds like the conversation going on in there is going to result in something pretty awesome. Hopefully, getting the devs together all on the same page and creating a framework of standards for developing games, even like what Mikey J is saying, like an expectation from the DAO of, hey, these are the levels of integrations that we kind of look at for how we're evaluating funding games. And if you do have a game where you did a level 1 integration, but it's a really cool game, has a great storyline and is engaging and fun for the player, I don't see any reason why the DAO shouldn't fund that. I guess the question just comes into like how good is the game? Are people playing it? And a lot of those things have to be assessed.
It wouldn't be like a full funding. I feel like for like if it's just at that point, it's almost like a sponsorship. Like, hey,
Right.
I've made this really cool game. Do you guys want your IP to be in this game? If so, like, here's how much I'm asking for to make that happen.
Yeah, or I mean, the DAO could even have a range of what they're willing to put up for something like that, so people can straight up see, hey, I can actually get paid out a bounty from the DAO between these ranges depending on what the game is,
Yep.
and be able to have some sort of an expectation there of what they should or could be building. Because I think, just like with an artist, if you can give some constraints on what you would like, you'll end up with a better product than just saying, well, you give us your idea, whatever it is, and then we'll decide if we like it.
Yeah, I think an IP route for a small amount of funding as like a sponsorship could make a lot of sense on Pixelcraft side and DAO side. Like, it doesn't have to be a full integration, but if it's like if we see a game coming in that like actually looks pretty cool, could be pretty fun, and it's not published yet, and we can get the Aavegotchis used like in it somehow, as NPC characters or like some sort of integration, and that game does well, then that's a lot of value for. So it's a good ROI.
I love and it could be kind of a case study for our DAO, but this whole situation with Gachi Farmy and the sandbox and how that came to be, I think is a really important lesson for the DAO and something we can keep in mind when we're thinking about this, funding games and whatnot. It does lead to a conversation about the DTF and what a Aavegotchi grants committee could look like. We have to look at what went well in the DTF and what didn't, and actually create something that works better than that. But at the same time, like, look at what happened with Gachi Farmy. They came to the DTF, said, I was project manager there, and said, hey, we have a great idea. We happen to have some contacts with the Sandbox team, and we've kind of been working on a demo concept if you'd like to see it. And really, we just want to know if this is something we should continue pursuing, or if Pixelcraft is going to have a major problem with this, if the DAO is going to have a major problem with this, and we should just 86 it immediately. And so I looked at the demo and I thought, this is great. Like, what a great way to have the Aavegotchis represented in the sandbox with all these other well-known projects. And so came to Pixelcraft. We discussed, like, hey, is this something Pixelcraft would allow? There was some discussion around agreements. And then they got seed funding. So they got seed funding from the DTF of about, I think, it was about 16,000 ghosts to build out a demo to show the DAO like what they could actually build and prove to the DAO they could be on brand with their with their um, with their approach, right? I want to make sure that it's representing the Aavegotchi brand, and they did really well. They killed it. I mean, you guys were pretty impressed, or seemed pretty impressed by the demo we ran through, and then from there, that was enough to get some rallied support around a bigger, more built out, accessible experience that the DAO would fund. So, and the conversation hasn't ended yet. There is still opportunity to discuss revenue streams and ways the DAO could work with Gotchi Farmy to, maybe create some revenue for the DAO as well. So that's kind of how that came to be. And I would kind of love to see a seed funding pool for projects like that maybe would be hard to grasp in concept just verbally or through forum. But if the DAO can maybe even fund a small part of their development, early development, to create a demo or something accessible, that might give people opportunities to not only showcase their talent, but also engage the community in these experiences and part of the process of building these games.
Yeah, and I would just say in the roadmap we kind of published at the beginning of the year, we did mention a game development fund, and I think like we would be happy to like whatever the DAO wanted to do up to a certain amount. Like we want to also have our own kind of game fund. If we were thinking somewhere around 300 to 500K, and if the DAO like wanted to match that and have a Pixelcraft game fund and DAO game fund and have both of those initiatives going, like I think that would bring a lot of attention to Aavegotchi, and it could really lead to some very cool games.
Are you thinking of a parallel approach here where Aavegotchi DAO has its own funding program and Pixelcraft has their own funding program? Or do you see a way that maybe we could have a collaborative approach? I mean, the Gotchi Farmy, the sandbox thing, very much is like a collaborative thing. The DAO has the community and the builders like building out this experience. Pixelcraft is assisting with the branding and the IP of it. I think it's just a really great partnership. And I'm curious to know how you're thinking about this and how the DAO is thinking about this.
It could make sense to, I mean, either way could make sense. Obviously, once it gets to a certain level, we do like to get involved a little bit just to make sure, like, with some lore aspects or just branding aspects, that things are up to spec, and the quality of the assets is, up to spec and all that. But I think there could be Pixelcraft having our kind of BD approach and a more community approach that could also work very well. I'll have to think about it a little bit more. But I think we have been talking more and more at Pixelcraft about this upcoming game fund, whether it's an accelerator type or whether it's just like a set of funds set aside just for funding like gaming basically for Gotchi Chain. Like what we want is when Gotchi Chain goes live, it would be great to have at least a couple demo type games that are ready, at least maybe ideally playable. Maybe not fully fleshed out yet, but to have something to go along with Gotchi Chain. Otherwise, it's going to be mainly the Gotchi verse on there. That's what we're kind of hoping for, and we have BD team members working on that right now.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, I think we should continue this conversation. I don't think there's an official forum post regarding the DTF 2.0 or whatever we decide to call it. But there is no official forum, I think, or not a new one anyway. If someone would like to go make that, I think that would be a great place to start off and kind of continue this conversation and lead to something tangible.
Yep. All right, cool. I think that's a good place to end the hangout, friends. We are at 2 hours. So yeah,
Absolutely.
really loving this new format of 1 hour alpha, 1 hour DAO. We'll keep this up and do it next week as well.
Sounds good, friends. And I will be, I have recorded these. They are also available on Aavegotchi DAO's YouTube. So go check that out. Aavegotchi DAO on YouTube. Give them a subscribe. I will also get these up on Spotify. So we will have these available on Spotify soon. I know Choina's going to love that. So
Yeah.
keep an eye out for that. I'll make sure I plug
Dudes
those.
out there climbing mountains with the Aavegotchi podcast.
Oh man, you got to put something on Twitter for that. Yeah, let's get some attention on that. And yeah, keep an eye out for that. And we'll see you. Well, what do we have tomorrow? We have the Thrive call tomorrow, right? That's at 12:30 Eastern.
Check.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Think Aavegotchi weekly public
Monday.
meeting. Oh, I see. Yeah, for me it's 12:30 a.m. Tuesday. So, yep.
Got
That'll
you.
be
That's
on
Monday.
for you guys.
I'm a day off because the DAO part kind of throws me off. So tomorrow is
man.
Sunday.
You get that empty Sunday.
Yeah, take it easy. Go touch some grass, and we'll see you next week.
Cool. Thanks, friends. Have a great rest
Peace
of the day.
out, guys.
Peace. Stay awesome.
Peace.
Peace.